それは気に入ってくれたってことかい？あんなに自由に振る舞っていたのに。
Convenience store. The bell on the top of the electronic door, used to indicate a customer's arrival at the convenience store, keeps ringing throughout the afternoon. You pull Vyn with you and head quickly into the shop, then go straight to the freezer. Phew, now I'm finally cooling down. With the changing of seasons, Stelly's average temperature has only soared higher and higher. Looks like summer is about to begin. As the day grows unbearably hot, the two of you gradually develop the habit of heading out for a walk after dinner. The destination is the convenience store 15 minutes away from Vince's house. After the stroll, the air conditioner blowing in your face always feels particularly cool. By the way, Vyn, are you the type who really doesn't mind the heat?
そう見える？
Vyn is bending down to choose an ice cream from the various options lining the freezers. He looks over at you when he hears your question. Of course, look, everyone's already wearing t-shirts, but you're still wearing a jacket. It must get pretty hot and sweaty in that. But you don't seem pretty unfazed by it. Saying so, you can't help but reach out to touch Vyn's forearm. Icy air gradually blankets his skin under the cold light of the freezer. He sighed and rolls up his sleeve a little.
そもそも僕はあまり肌をさらさないからね。肌が白いのも腕を見せないのもメラニンの関係で光が得意じゃないからで。もちろん暑くないのかと聞かれたら、ここ数日あなたとコンビニに駆け込んでいる通り、僕だって人とそう変わらないよ。
You spot a small hint of unnatural redness on his forearm, which was covered by his sleeve until a few seconds ago.
日に焼けて皮がむけるくらいなら暑さを我慢した方がマシだからね。
I guess you can't have the best of both worlds. There's no way to avoid UV rays while staying cool. You look around the shelves as you consider Vyn's words. When you look back, Vyn has already moved to the counter to queue. You hurriedly take a small bottle from the shelf and run to his side. Ah, wait, I also got this. Let's pay for everything together. As you didn't grab a shopping cart, Vyn has to carry the various colorful ice cream cones in his arms, as if holding an outlandish bouquet of sorts. He watches with lowered eyes, blinking in confusion as you put a bottle of sunscreen into his arms.
日焼け止め？
I got a call from the firm this afternoon telling me to head to Blanco Islands for a business trip in a few weeks. Apparently, it's an urgent job for an old client. Celestine says that it has been even hotter than Sally's over there recently, and the weather forecast is predicting a string of sunny days, so I need to protect myself.
ファンク諸島。
What's it like? I haven't had time to look it up yet. Vyn gives you a look with more than just a smidge of resignation. He maneuvers his hands to free one and grabs the sunscreen you put in his arms, then lightly nods your forehead with it.
偶然か、あるいは天の導きか。そこはスウォルト国内だよ。
Huh? But I don't remember you ever mentioning it.
ファンク諸島はスウォルトの離島の一つで、とても小さな島だから、同じスウォルトの人でも知ってる人は少ないんだ。そういえば、そろそろ夏至祭りの時期だったね。
Summer Solstice Festival?
うん。スウォルトの本土はもちろん、ファンク諸島も冬が長いから。そんな冬の終わりを記念して、最も昼が長くなる春から夏にかけての夏至を夏至祭りというお祭りで祝うんだ。ちなみに、ファンク諸島が晴れていることで有名なのは天候的な理由もあるけど、それ以上に日が暮れないというのが大きいかな。
Seeing that you are still looking at him with a curiosity, Vyn takes out his phone and searches for Planko Island's summer solstice. Photos of people smiling under the sunlight instantly fill the entire screen, and you are unable to help the gasp that escapes your lips. Then, do you want to go back to Svart for the festival? Maybe we. However, you realize the issue as soon as you speak. The long sleeves jacket that Vyn doesn't take off and the time he spends lingering in front of the freezer are both sending a message you can't just overlook. It's hard to imagine Vyn wearing sunglasses and suntanning on the beach. Vyn's gaze somewhat softens when he sees your hesitation. He moves to the side and walks out of the long queue.
スウォルトで育った人間としてこれだけは断言できるけど、もし向こうで二人で過ごすなら、これを数本買った程度じゃ数日間で使い切ってしまうと思うよ。
Two people? Vyn, you...
時々そうやってもったいぶるけど、もしかして僕を試していたりするのかな。
Vyn says this half complaining and half as a reminder as his hand quickly skims through the shelves. He picks up a few more bottles from the dazzling array of goods, his actions even smoother than yours when you were picking out sunscreen a few minutes ago. Even the danciest person would be able to figure out what he meant but when he said that. Your heart skips a beat in a sudden and secret delight.
せっかくのお祭りなのに一人なんて寂しいからね。
Yacht. After a few weeks, you fly to Planko Islands as arranged. Just as been described, a festive atmosphere fills the island to the point where it doesn't feel like the sport you remember anymore. After the kiss concludes smoothly, you are unable to refuse the client's insistent invitations and stay behind to attend a yacht party she is hosting. It's so hot, I feel like I'm about to melt. On the empty and vast sea, even the distant islands waver in the superheated air like a mirage. You've been in contact with Vyn every day for the past few days, and you mentioned to him that your client invited you on the yacht. He let you know that he probably arrived after the party ended, but he would try to meet up with you as soon as possible. However, he hasn't yet given you a clear answer as to where and how you will meet. Who's teasing who now? No matter how magnificent the ocean view before you is, your heart still remains with the person hundreds of miles away.
先生、こんなに暑いのに、本当に何もお飲みにならないの？ほら、我が家特製のオリジナルドリンクよ。この島でしか味わえないお花のジュースをぜひ堪能していって。
The client enthusiastically pushes the glass towards you as soon as she finishes talking. You look at the cold drink. The liquid is of dark berry color and you struggle to connect it to a source flower. A love in idleness flower? Is that a specialty here?
ええ、この島では毎年月祭が近くなると咲いた花を食用に加工する習慣があるの。先生、真夏の夜の夢というシェイクスピアの喜劇をご覧になったことは？作中ではこの花から絞った液体をまぶたに塗られると目覚めて最初に見た生き物を愛してしまうの。 そこから来たのかは不明だけど、昔からこの島では夏至に咲いたパンジーには不思議な力が宿ると言われているそうよ。例えば今先生が持っているそのジュースを飲めば運命の相手と出会い一目惚れをするなんて言われてるわ。この島で育ったのでなければスウォルト人でも知ってる人は少ないでしょうね。
Wow, I had no idea. Seeing that you're eyeing the drink curiously, the client smiles at you.
もちろん私たちもおまじない程度にしか思っていないわ。でもせっかくのお祭りだものね。先生もそう思うでしょ？
Though the canopy overhead blocks off some of the sunlight, the heat waves rolling through the air remained unavoidable. Droplets slither down the side of the glass containing the cold drink, making the liquid look particularly enticing. I guess when in Rome, do as the Romans do. Luck in love, but I already have been. As that thought enters your mind, the permeating anxiety of being unable to see Vyn rears its ugly head in your mind once again, more unbearable than even the sweltering heat and sticky sweat. However, as if right on cue, a cacophony of noise suddenly invades your ears. You turn to look for the source of the sound and see a few motorboats speeding through the water, heading toward the yacht, leaving long wakes of white foam behind them. The client immediately waves at the motorboats as if directing them to come aboard the deck. Do you know them?
ええ、昔からの友人よ。ちょっと待ってて、紹介するから。
You squint against the blinding sunlight to discern who these new guests are. Suddenly, your heart clenches tight. If your eyesight isn't failing, you... Hold on, I think I see someone I know. Too late. Just as you bolt up from the seat, one of the guests has boarded the yacht after parking the motorboat. Yacht. The client has already walked toward the new guest aboard the bustling yacht. However, you find yourself unable to say a single word, not only because you find one of the guests extremely familiar, but also because...
まあ、ビルヘルム。やっと来てくれたのね。待ちわびたわ。
Wilhelm, do they know each other? As if confirming your suspicions, Vyn takes a drink from the food table and joins your group.
すまないね。水上バイクの準備をしていたら少し遅くなってしまったよ。
いいのよ。それより今までいくら誘ってもずっと来てくれなかったのに、今年はどういう風の吹き回し？
His face is still rather flushed, likely from driving the motorboat for a long time under the sun. The water droplets that splattered onto him during the motorboat ride still cling to his body, slithering from his chest all the way down his abdomen. He doesn't immediately reply to the client's questions, slowly shifting his eyes to you instead.
恋人を迎えに来ただけだよ。
This explosive declaration immediately sparks heated discussion among the crowd, and the client keeps looking between you and Vyn.
でも彼女は私が雇った弁護士さんよ。それがあなたの恋人？ビルヘルム、一体どういうことなの？
After some explanation, you and Vyn finally explain the nature of your relationship to the client and how you two arranged to meet up after the conclusion of your case. While the client is still in shock, Vyn looks over at you bemusely, as if asking for your thoughts regarding his sudden appearance. Seems like my imagination is still lacking when it comes to him.
やだ、私ったらそうとも知らずに。
Having finally accepted the fact that she accidentally hired her friend's girlfriend to be her lawyer, the client takes your hand rather apologetically.
ごめんなさいね。知らなかったとはいえ、随分と余計なことを。もう恋人がいるのに、一目惚れの効果を持った飲み物を勧めるなんて。
一目惚れ
You and the client both turn around, only to see Vin looking at you two in confusion, a glass still in his hand. He's holding none other than the love in idleness flower juice that he took from the table, and he has already gulped down the majority of it.
やだ、どうしてそれにしちゃったの？私が飲むならまだしも。とにかく今は二人きりにしてあげた方が良さそうね。みんな悪いけど向こうで飲み直しましょう。
The client hurries away, glass in hand. Vin's expression, however, only grows more confused. He curiously looks over at you.
僕、おかしなこと言ってないよね。
You're overthinking it. Come here, I'll explain everything. The deck returns to its previous liveliness, and the guests are once again chatting happily in the small groups. You and Vin find a cool corner of the deck. You then explain the island's legends regarding the love in idleness flower to him.
そういうことだったんだね。僕も初めてこの島に来たから知らなかったよ。てっきりシロップを入れすぎた甘い飲み物だとばかり。
That's exactly what I mean. It's just a sweet drink. After all, legends are just old stories. There's no way they're true.
そうかな。
Vin looks out over the vast sea spreading out before the two of you, then smiles as he directs his gaze back at you.
僕はステラシでこんな言葉を聞いたよ。いい言い伝えは信じるべきだって。もしかしたらその昔、この島では何かの事件が起きていて、その原因が何かの誤因だったのかも。そう考えると、一周するのはもったいないと思わないかい？
What are you talking about? I thought someone like you would usually laugh off legends like this. You discern the joking tone in his voice and lightly punch his arm. Why don't we talk about you? You were so flashy with that motorboat ride. I didn't even know you knew how to ride that. Speaking of driving, do you need a water vehicle license for it, right? Where did you even get that license? Vyn? You spend so much effort analyzing Vin's intentions that you don't realize he has fallen silent. But it isn't a temporary lapse of attention. He's frowning as if he's mulling something over. Oh, what's wrong?
平気だよ。でも、さっきの飲み物が甘すぎたみたいだね。水でももらってこようかな。
Really? But it's been a while since the client took away Vin's drink. It seems rather odd for the aftertaste to only hit now. However, before you can ask him for more details, someone suddenly yells out his name from the other side of the yacht. You both look toward the source of the sound and spot a few people gathered on the deck, including the client.
ベルヘルム先生、これから海に降りるけど、よかったら一緒にどう？
You tilt your head to look at the water from your position behind Vyn and see a few motorboats floating on the water.
私たちは海外で免許も取得してるし、経験も長いから、初心者が参加しても安全よ。それに、この国は水上バイクに関する規制が緩いからね。でしょ、ビルヘルム？
Vyn only emerges from his thoughts when the client calls out to him again. Vyn is passing out again. Is there something on his mind?
海に降りる？
His gaze moves over the people around him, including you, and he smiles politely.
そうだね。
先生はもし不安なら私が後ろで。
彼女は僕が教えるよ。
Vyn answers so stiffly that it surprises you.
彼女もついさっき水上バイクに興味を示していてね。ちょうど乗せてあげようかと思ってたんだ。だから僕たちは僕たちで慣らしてくるよ。あなたもそれでいいかい？
Vyn, I did mention the motorboats, but I definitely didn't say I wanted to ride in on one. Vyn is directly stating things that never happened. What's more, he's waiting for you to be his accomplice and back up his statement. Such a bold and straightforward invitation from him is a truly bizarre sight. While you are curious about this turn of events, you also feel a little helpless. He always has so many tricks up his sleeve, fine, I'll go along with him. You nod and look at the client sincerely. Yes, I did see that. After you wait with bated breath for a while, you see all the guests exchange a look with each other and nod with smiles. Though you do want to give the motorboats a try, you still feel rather apprehensive when you recall how Vyn sped along the water just now. Hopefully, I won't get tossed into the sea. As if discerning your worries, Vyn gestures for you to walk to the motorboat with him.
水上バイクには安全保護装置がついてるから安心していいよ。基本的な操作も簡単だから、後で詳しく教えてあげるね。
Okay, I'll leave it to you then. You all soon begin to busy yourself next to the motorboats. Vyn, on the other hand, has become your private tutor. He explains the things to look out for, then guides you to sit in the driver's seat. The water vehicle regulations set out by the island government state that those with motorboat license may opt to wear different safety gear based on their circumstances. As Vyn's passenger, you are still very inexperienced compared to what the others around you. Therefore, Vyn takes his time to put on a life jacket for you. After that, you bob up and down on the water with the motorboat. You can feel Vyn pressing against you from behind and moving his arm over yours as he fiddles with the various dials.
すぐ終わるから。
Sweat is already starting to bead on your back under the scorching sun. Unfortunately, Vyn is much more sensitive to the heat than you are. You recall your conversation at the convenience store as you shuffle closer to him, whispering. Vyn, are you okay? The sun's really strong. You don't have to force yourself.
心配ないよ。確かに日差しは強いけど、熱自体はバイクが動けばさほど気にならなくなるから。
He seems determined to take you away from the yacht. Even though you can guess that he wants to be alone with you, you still want him to say that out loud himself. Therefore, you open your mouth next to his blushing ear and whisper more before you head out. You know, I didn't say anything about wanting to try the motorboat. Why did you suddenly...
特別な理由なんてないよ。ただあの時、唐突にあなたをドライブに連れて行きたくなったんだ。
Under the cover of your long hair, Vyn lets out the lower side in the crook of your neck. The intimate gesture now carries a hint of danger. If someone turned their head to look in your direction, they would see him resting his chin on your shoulder. Vyn, people are going to see.
大丈夫だよ。バイクの調整でそれどころじゃないと思うから。それより、今は僕に集中してほしいな。
What do you mean? Of course you have my full attention.
本当に？なら、気づいてるよね。僕がちょっとおかしくなってること。
Strangely, what makes you say that? His words and actions are growing bolder as you feel his hidden desires almost leaping out at you.
あなたに会うために参加したけど、話してたらすぐに帰りたくなってきてね。この集まりもおかしな飲み物も騒がしい周囲も煩わしいと思わない？だから。
The motorboat's engine softly rumbles under you, its frequency ever increasing, speeding up your heartbeat with it. Vyn's right hand softly brushes past the accelerator on the motorboat's handle as if he's ready to dash out into the boundless sea with you in the next second.
彼らよりも遠くへ行こう。準備はいいかい？
At sea. You instinctively hug Vyn's waist tighter the moment the motorboat sets off. Surprisingly, he doesn't shoot ahead as the driver. Instead, he steers the boat evenly ahead for a while, contrary to how he arrived.
どうかな？これくらいの速度なら大丈夫かい？
Of course, we can even go a bit faster.
そっか。なら。
However, this is when you hear the clear sound of another engine behind you. Vyn, behind us!
ヴィルヘルム、船に来た時はすごいスピードだったのに、どうしちゃったの？ほら、競争しましょう。ゴールはあの島よ。
It seems the client was speaking the truth when she said they were all experienced with the motorboats. They are even speeding in front of you to show off, painting a long white line of foam in the water ahead.
幼稚な。
It's okay, Vyn. Let's just go at our own pace, okay? We don't need to worry about other people. Vyn doesn't respond for a while. Perhaps due to the searing heat or perhaps due to something else. The man who usually pays heed to what others say is now surprising his heavy breathing, his hands gripping the handles of the motorboat even tighter.
もう少し早くてもいいって言ったよね。
Yeah, is everything okay?
しっかり捕まってて。
Okay, whoa! You hear a loud roar from the motorboat. Then the vertigo that accompanies sudden acceleration slams into you and you can't help but hug Vyn even closer. Beach.
これでもう追いかけてくる心配はないかな。
The motorboat gradually slows down and slants to a stop at a shallow beach that looks like a good swimming spot. Vyn carries you off the seat. Your arms still feel rather numb by the time your feet touch the warm water. Is this the island we were racing to? Did we win?
違う島だよ。彼らを巻くために進路を変えたんだ。ここで一休みしていこう。
Vyn is also panting lightly, and the red flush of his face is even more pronounced compared to when you were still on the motorboat. You can't help but reach out to touch his burning hot face. Vyn, I've been meaning to ask for a while, but you did put on sunscreen, right?
うん。でも、思ったほど効かないね。
Seeing how rosy he looks right now, you subconsciously imagine a scene in the near future after you both return to Stelis. The Dr. Richter standing at the podium would appear the same as usual, but he'd actually have evident tan lines on the skin under his shirt. No, I need to do something, and fast. To prevent Vyn's image as a professor from being tainted by the smallest hint of sunlight, you make a snap decision and drag him with you as you dash to the motorboat's storage compartment. You set up on the beach as fast as possible, then strongly insist that Vyn sits down. He complies without question. You open a tube of reef-safe sunscreen in front of him and squeeze out the liquid. Vyn has relaxed quite a bit thanks to the cooling sensation brought on by the sunscreen. Even so, the redness on his face still needs some time to disappear. Squinting slightly, he leans into it you lazily.
僕は幼稚だと思うかい？
Childish? Your hands can't help but stop in their tracks. You wonder why he's bringing up that topic now. However, Vyn seems to be troubled, murmuring to himself.
水上バイクであなたを連れ出そうとしただけなのに、思わず衝動的になってみんなを騙して。ただの冗談だと頭では分かっていたけど、あなたの前でカッコつけたくなってしまったんだ。らしくないよね。今日は一体どうしたんだか。
You think back on Vyn's behavior and everything he said, then you suddenly remember something the client on the yacht said. If you drink a beverage made from Amelian flowers on the Summer Solstice Festival, you'll find your destined lover with a single glance and briefly show your affection. Vyn did drink it, and he's been acting braver and more direct with you since then. What am I thinking? Didn't I just say that legends like that are only stories? Vyn is still waiting for your response. You smile to yourself, then squeeze a bit more sunscreen onto his body. It's a little different than the usual you, but isn't this pretty nice too?
それは気に入ってくれたってことかい？あんなに自由に振る舞っていたのに。
Yeah, after all, it's the fastest way for me to understand exactly what you want, right? After you finish rubbing sunscreen on Vyn's body, you realize that his skin is slightly drier than you imagined. Looks like he barely put on any, and he was acting all soft just now. Vyn, how did you put on the sunscreen by yourself earlier?
背中は塗ってないよ。1秒でも早く出るために腕と顔だけ塗ってきたんだ。
No wonder.
なんか目が怖いよ。
Everything is all ready. Now that Vyn is well protected, he can head back to the motorboat and set out again. However, it seems like he doesn't want to look away from your face at all. He looks into your eyes with determination.
つい言いそびれてしまったけど。
What?
ちょっと優しすぎたかな。
Before you figure out what Vyn is talking about, he suddenly turns and moves closer to you. As you watch him, he uses his index finger to wipe some sunscreen on his body that has not been thoroughly smeared into his skin, and he waves his finger in front of you.
僕はただ人より日差しに敏感だって言っただけで、そんなに恐る恐るする必要はないよ。もっと大胆に、こんな風に。
Vyn, hold on. Vyn squeezes out some sunscreen and gestures for you to turn around, then start to meticulously apply it to your skin.
人の心配をする前に自分のことも気にしないとね。
However, his skills are still a bit lacking, and the uneven pressure he applies makes the process even more unbearable. In fact, he deliberately kneads your neck and shoulders between applying the sunscreen, as if he wants to give you a massage while he's at it. Then you hear a squirt as you feel a cold sensation on a large area of your back. Vyn pauses for a moment. What's wrong?
少し出しすぎてしまったみたいだ。振り向かないで、髪についてしまうから。
This mistake has given Vyn even more opportunities. With no one around you, his breath dances over your back unrestrained, as if adding more fire to the searing heat. Though you have experienced intimacy like this with him before, it is usually in a more secluded and safe space. The waves rise and fall in the distance, and motorboats could pass by at any moment. Vyn, wait! Beach. After putting on the sunscreen, Vyn changes back into his previous outfit and you nudge for him to sit up. Although you both rested for a long while after applying enough sunscreen, Vyn is still a little short of breath due to the scorching heat. As you watch him, a thought that you previously pushed down reemerges in your mind.
ん？僕の目に何かついてるかい？
Vyn, you said you accidentally spoke about what was on your mind a few times today, didn't you?
うん。どうしてか、思ったことを次の瞬間には行動に移してしまうんだ。もしかしたら数日間会えなかったせいで、いつもより素直になっているのかもしれないね。
However, Vyn's behavior has been more bizarre than that. He spits out twice after he drinks the flower juice, and the excuse he gave isn't enough to explain that behavior. Are you okay?
平気だよ。でも、さっきの飲み物が甘すぎたみたいだね。水でももらってこようかな。
Right. Vyn also said the drink was really sweet. Was it only too sweet, or was there alcohol in it? Vyn, come closer.
ん？
You reach for his cheeks to feel his body temperature. Then you brush his hair aside and put your forehead against his.
体温を測ってるの？
Shh, quiet. Let me think. As Vyn is guilty of pretending to be drunk in the past, you can't help but conduct a more thorough examination. There is nothing wrong with him, and there are no signs of heat stroke. What is going on? Vyn, be honest with me. How exactly are you feeling right now?
心地いいかな。こういうのも案外悪くないね。
Pretty good.
何をしているのかはわからないけど、こうしているとあなたをすぐ近くに感じられるし、僕が積極的にならなくてもいいから。
Vyn's scent mixed with the fragrance of the sunscreen, and he shifts relentlessly. Only then do you realize that you've done something very dangerous. You are voluntarily facing him, and you can kiss him with just a lift of your chin.
だけど、何か困ったことがあるようなら、少しだけ待ってあげようかな。ほら、時間は短いよ。何を企んでいるのか早く教えてごらん。
Could there really be something wrong with the drink? Just then you recall the words Vyn spoke to you. For some things, it's better to believe in their existence, not their absence. But that'd be too weird. Is that really possible? There's no way that a drink could affect a person's behavior. It might be better to think of alternative explanations instead of mulling over this possibility. Perhaps Vyn has been trying his hardest for some unstated reason to tease you from the moment he boarded the yacht, and everything has just been an act. But is Vyn really capable of teasing me like that? He was still concerned about being too childish when I applied the sunscreen on him before. Then what could be the problem?
何を一人で話しているんだい？
You quickly pull yourself out of your thoughts and meet Vyn's eyes. It seems that you also blurted out your thoughts without thinking, as if you were influenced by him.
一体何があったんだい？さっきからずっと難しい顔をしているけど。何かアドバイスできるかもしれないし、僕に話してごらん。
You can't help but feel a little guilty when you see him gazing at you with such serious concern. So you decide to cast your worries to the wind and come clean. Vyn, do you remember the legend I told you about the love in idleness flower juice? People who drink it on the summer solstice festival will not only encounter love but also expose the deepest parts of themselves.
覚えてるけど、それがどうしたんだい？
Actually, I have a hypothesis. Don't laugh, okay? Think about it. Everything you said and did that you describe as blunt, it all started happening after you drank the juice, didn't it? Everything matches the legend, so I've been wondering if there's some genuine magic involved. As if amused by your explanation, Vyn lets out a low chuckle.
僕の意見を聞きたいんだろうけど、あいにくとそういったものは昔から信じていないんだ。
But how else are we going to explain your behavior today? There has to be a reason for it, right?
理由ね。あなたは本当にその理由を解明したいのかい？
Vyn mumbles to himself. You don't immediately understand the meaning behind his words, and your brow furrows. You see him stand up in front of you, then bends down and extend a hand to you.
一旦バイクの方に戻ろうか。
Head back.
出発する前に必要になるかと思って飲み物を用意しておいたんだ。もしどうしても気になるというなら、直接確かめてみるかい？
After a brief pause, you quickly run back to the motorboat. Vyn soon joins you and rifles through the storage compartment.
これだよ。
He lifts the glass bottle in his hands, and the dark red liquid inside sways. After unscrewing the lid, he first puts his nose close to the opening and sniffs at it, then passes the bottle to you.
あなたも嗅いでごらん。お酒の香りはしないから。
You can't help but take a big whiff and nods hesitantly, still unconvinced. I guess so, but...
まだ信じきれないかい？
As if wanting to further ascertain that nothing is wrong with the juice, Vyn is already lifting the bottle to his lips. This is clearly way too reckless. You hurriedly run over to him. Wait! Unable to stop yourself in time, you slam right into Vyn. Vyn seems to emit a grunt as he tries to screw the lid of the bottle back on. He stumbles backward a few steps into the water. However, you are unable to stop yourself from tumbling forward. Just as you are about to grab onto the bottle,
少し落ち着いて。
the bottle falls onto the beach and rolls away, moving further and further from the both of you. Before you can climb up from your position on top of Vyn, you are smacked in the face by a wave crashing onto the beach. Vyn, who is pressed under you, is temporarily submerged under the sparkling ocean waves. He looks up at you through the water and spits out some tiny bubbles as if he is a small fish. Are you okay? I'll help you up right now. Startled, you start to pull on Vyn's arm vigorously. However, you don't expect him to tug back and lock you in his embrace.
ここまで来たなら、もうこうすればいいのに。
The man before you may be a professor behind the podium, as well as a future duke navigating a world of wealth and power. But as he lies in the water right now, he's wearing a smile you have never seen on his face before, a smile similar to a child's when they discover something precious. You can even faintly discern how he might have looked as a boy from this smile alone. Vin, you... Maybe this is who he truly is. His mind clear, simply laughing carefully while tightly hugging the one he loves.
どうして驚いてるの？もしかして、こんな紳士らしくないことをするとは思わなかった？僕たちの間にも、他の恋人たちのような、冗談やいたずらがあってもいいんじゃない？
Frank, don't tell me. Vin's smile explains everything. There is nothing wrong with him. Not only that, but he even pretended to be affected by the legend, all to see how you react to it. You pick up some bad habits. You're actually teasing me? And you kept it for so long. Thinking back to all the outlandish thoughts you came out with because of him, you reach out to pinch his cheek, trying to gain some of your dignity. However, he evades every one of your attempts as the tide continues to lap against the shore, requiring you to figure out how to steady yourself first.
今回のことを成立させたのは、他でもない、あなた自身じゃないかな。ずっと前から知っていたけど、あなたは推理が好きで、それまでの経験から物事を判断するタイプだよね。だから、日差しが苦手だと僕が言ったことで、あの日のコンビニでも僕を誘うのをためらい。僕が意味もなく冗談を言わない人間だと知っていたから、僕の異変が飲み物のせいじゃないかとずっと疑っていた。
That's because I care about your thoughts and habits, and I know you really well.
でも、僕たちの関係は、そういった推理の上で成り立っているわけじゃないよね。愛することに理屈なんてないし、恋人同士の行動に真っ当な理由を当てはめる必要もない。ただそうしたいからという本能のままに動いているだけなんだ。いくら日差しに弱かろうと、あなたと一緒に行く判断を下したようにね。
The wave continuously rushed up to the beach, completely drenching Vin's hair. However, he seems to be totally indifferent to it as he runs his hand up and down your waist.
だから、一緒に来るかどうかなんて聞くまでもなかったんだよ。それよりも僕は、あなたがどうしたいのかを教えてほしかったんだ。
Vyn finally sits up from the water. However, he still does not let you go, simply tucking your slightly tangled wet hair behind your ear. Then, what do you want to hear from me?
そうだね。レイさんと行きたいって言ってほしかったかな。あなたの国に出張に行くから、仕事が終わったら待ち合わせしましょうって。それか、飛行機でなるべく早く来てほしいとか、今から水上バイクを運転できるようになって、クルーザーまで迎えに来てほしいとかね。
He had remembered your hesitation at the convenience store for such a long time, and even planned all this because of it. Is this a sign of his overwhelming seriousness, or of how much he values you? You can't help but smile as you pinch his cheek. You still shouldn't have tricked me for so long. I was seriously contemplating if you had a sudden change of personality.
慣れないせいで加減が下手だったのは認めるけど、全部が全部嘘だったわけじゃないよ。飲み物の影響があってもなくても、今日のあなたは目を奪われるほどに魅力的で、どう頑張っても近づかずにはいられないんだ。
Vyn looks like he wants to kiss you again. You smooth his wet hair and close your eyes, waiting for his touch. However, after waiting for some time, you only hear his even breathing. Vyn, what's wrong? You open your eyes to see him looking at you at the glass bottle half buried in the sand nearby, seemingly deep in thought. He then stands up and picks the bottle up from the beach, bringing it back before the sea can truly claim it. However, he appears to be in no hurry to put the bottle back into the storage compartment. Instead, he looks at you with interest and opens the lid once again.
ところで、いろいろあって忘れてたけど、結局これがどんな味なのか知りたくないかい？
To be honest, I am a bit curious. As expected, Vyn passes the bottle to you. However, seeing his gentle expression makes your rebellious nature rise up instead. Vyn is right. Why do you have to treat one another so formally when other couples can freely tease each other?
飲まないの？
Of course you do, but... Before Vyn can figure out what you're really thinking, you take a sip and pretend to genuinely examine the taste of the juice. In the next second, you have already pressed your lips against his in a kiss, pushing the juice in your mouth into his. Vyn's breathing becomes frantic the moment the juice enters his mouth. Some of the juice even drips down from your joined lips to your chins as his chest heaves. This startles him even more, and you feel him hugging your waist tightly while you kiss. He pushes more of the sweet liquid back into your mouth. Vyn?
もっと飲みたい？
No, I think I can hear a motorboat again.
え？
You clearly hear Vyn let out a displeased huff. After you try your best and manage to suppress your laughter, you follow his gaze to look toward the source of the sound. As you expected, a motorboat is slowing down over the water not too far from you, and someone is waving at you from the driver's seat.
ミルヘルム先生、そろそろ戻るわよ。みんなもクルーザーで待ってるから、早くおいで。
Hearing these words, Vyn waves rather resignedly at the other boat, indicating that he got the message. After turning his gaze back from the water, he looks at you rather apologetically.
さすがにもう戻らないとだね。帰りも僕が。
そうだ、それからもう一つ。
まだあるのか。
勝負はまだついてないから、クルーザーまで競争するわよ。
本当に幼稚だね。
Without any need to continue pretending to be influenced by the drink, Vyn doesn't fall for it this time and takes a deep breath. He seems to have already returned to the person you know. He is naturally unfazed by the bit others are laying out. Okay, we're in.
え？
You yell back before Vyn can say anything. You know that the quieter a person is, the more passionate their hearts often are. They just need a target to release that passion. You really want to compete with them, don't you? Why don't we have a go at it again? The surprised look on Vyn's face is gradually overtaken by joy as he nods at you with determination.
なら、ゆっくりはしてられないね。
Your motorboat roars and splits the waves in the endless sunlight, dashing ahead. And this time, you bravely open your eyes, seemingly filled with the desire to behold all the sparkling marvels around you. The shifting, brilliant sunlight in the sky seems to constantly shift in radiance, leading you toward victory. Vyn, I think I see the yacht.
うん。このまま行けば僕たちが一番だね。でも油断はできない。しっかり捕まってて。
As soon as he says that, he turns the motorboat and skids over the water as if he is drifting. You feel like you could touch the foaming surface of the sea by just reaching out with your hand. Seeing that no one is catching up to you anytime soon, Vyn gradually slows down.
さすがにもう大丈夫そうだね。早ければもう少し緩めるけど、どうする？
No, it's okay. Actually, I feel really at peace right now. I can tell that you've practiced a lot for this moment.
あなたは僕の最初の、そして唯一のお客さんだからね。価値ある勝利を送ってあげるのは当然のことだよ。
Seeing how serious Vyn is, you can't help but snuggle against him intimately. Is it your duty or do you want to do it?
やっぱりあなたは鋭いね。僕はあなたに距離のある人間だと思われたくなかった。だからこんな慣れないことも試してみたんだ。水上バイクを操縦してみたのも、冗談を言ってみたのも、本当はそれが理由なのかもしれない。
Vyn, I don't think you need to worry about that at all. You've never been someone who kept his distance from me, and everything you've done today is proof of that, no?
だといいね。
Despite the loud and incessant sound of the engine next to you, you can still clearly discern Vyn's whispered words. You feel him take a relaxed breath as he once again boosts the accelerator to the highest gear. You two rush ahead as if you're riding on the wind until the finish line embraces you. Near the yacht, your motorboat gradually slows down. People are already eagerly dashing to the side of the deck and reaching out to drag you on board. Vyn is still assessing the motorboat's various devices, so you have no choice but to board before he does. Oh, thanks. Masses of excited guests surround you as the other motorboats also returns. You soon hear someone calling for you. The client has returned to the yacht as well, and she pushes through the crowds to give you a hug. However, you are not in the mood to enjoy this triumphant welcome. You look back to see... Vyn!
お呼びかい？
Vyn is still sitting in the driver's seat. He is detached from the crowd, like a cat watching everything with a cool gaze. He's probably been watching you since you left the motorboat, which is why he responded so quickly. When you think about this, you feel a strange emotion swell up inside you. I just suddenly remembered something. You head back toward the motorboat as everyone watches. Vyn is still sitting in the motorboat, and he looks up slightly to meet your eyes.
忘れ物かい？
No, I just think that since we won together, is it really okay for you to let me handle all the spectators on my own?
なるほどね。でももう少し待ってて。まだバイクの調整が残ってるから。
No, no waiting. What I want is... Don't keep asking questions. Don't keep voicing invitations. Just say your most honest desire out loud. Perhaps he has been hoping for you to do this since the beginning. I want you to return to my side right now, and you're not allowed to leave. Did someone shout in surprise, or did they whistle? It no longer matters to you at this moment. You boldly approach Vin's lips under the spectator's surprise or otherwise cheerful gazes, doing exactly what you want to do the most.
こんばんは。まだ事務所かい？身支度してるところを見ると、上がれるのかな？ん？早く僕のところへ来たい？慌てないで。ちょうど近くにいるから、後で合流しよう。散歩が珍しいって？最近は暑いからね。ふとした時にアイスが欲しくなるんだ。研究所の人から、この辺に専門店があるって聞いて、覗いてみようかと。うん。気づけば買ってたね。実は、こういう店は初めてで。まとめ買いっていうのかな。お店の人が熱心に勧めてくれたんだ。どうしても断れず、おすすめを全部買ってしまったから、多くてね。ん？まとめ買いは値引き対象？全然知らなかったよ。あの時は、あなたのことしか考えてなかったし。アイスの値段や量を考えて悩むよりも、あなたが気に入るかどうかの方が大事だから。より正確に言うなら、あなたに合う口実の方がね。島での休暇が一瞬だったから、戻ってきてからずっと会いたくて。こうしてどんどん依存していくのかな。家には旅行の写真や記念品がたくさん残ってるけれど、いくら眺めても満たされないんだ。だから、いいかな。これから合流して、アイスを食べながら一緒に家まで帰ったも。うん。もうすぐ着くから、待ってて。